Hey, this is Gratuitous. Welcome to Music Production Made Simple, the show that focuses on best practices about music production, which is based on FL Studio. If you're wanting to become the best producer you could be, subscribe and listen weekly. You can also check out my courses, which teach you the principles and basics of music production. They'll get you up and running quickly. In addition, I also have books on Amazon and tons of music on Spotify. Always feel free to hit me up at hi@itsgratuitous.com. So let's get into the episode. Hey, what's up, everybody? Gratuitous here, and welcome to episode 29. So it's been a while since I released my last episode, and I've been super busy, okay? In that time, I have written 2 books here on Amazon. The one book took me a while, okay? It was called FL Studio Beginner's Book, and it actually took me a year to write, okay? I talked about that, I believe, in the last episode there. And, the reason why it took so long is just because, I pretty much finished the book. I ended up reading through it. I just found it was really jumpy, went from one section to the next, kind of really harsh. I just kind of kept solidifying it. And finally, I released it. I got it printed, and I just wanted to wait until I actually got a paperback in my hands, and I was so impressed with how it turned out. It's my biggest book. It's 160 pages, okay? So if you guys purchase it off of Amazon, I actually released a video here on YouTube. You guys can check it out, and I'll leave links in the show notes as well. The other book I released is called FL Studio Ultimate Template Creation Guide, and my whole goal behind that book is not to teach you how to create a template. It's more about your mindset behind the template, okay? So for myself, I just discovered that, first of all, a template is awesome, right? It saves you time. But in my early years, I thought, I'm going to create this huge template that's going to save me so much time. And I ended up adding in all these different plugins. But what I realized, actually, maybe about a month ago, as I was starting to create a new beat tape, is I was going through my beat catalog of old beats. I loaded up a beat and I realized, I was like, this was that old template I was working off of, right? So again, the awesome ideas I had back in the day turned out to not be so awesome. My goal behind this book is to teach you a good decision versus a bad decision within this template, okay? So again, I'll leave the links in the description below, okay? So where have I been? What have I been up to? So I actually quit my full-time job as an electrician. It was just kind of some problems at the job. I've never really wanted to do the foreman position. And the reason is because I've always done this stuff on the side, music production, and I don't want to take my work home. So I was always kind of like the sub-foreman, I'd always be making sure that the guys are getting the job done. And if they're not, I love to teach, right? So I'm actually going to break down and share with them, what I like to see, how I want it done, and really for efficiency. And there was just problems at the site I was at. And, I tried to talk to the higher ups and say, hey, fix the situation. Nothing was getting done. And, I've never quit a job on short notice. I literally went in, grabbed my tools the next day, and I was like, guys, I'm out of here. It was a huge step for me. But the reason why I say that is because I actually want to start creating electrical courses here. So since I'm in Canada, I've been an electrician for about 13 years, okay? And in all honesty, it's been an awesome job to do with music production because, as you go to school, a lot of times you have a lot of, downtime to do music production, or, sometimes work is slow, and many times you can get EI. So in other words, you get paid a reduced salary, even if work gets slower. And so it's just kind of always just been a nice job, right? But I just found as I was going to school, you never really learned anything. And, as I started to get more and more seasoned in electrical, all these new, pretty much young adults coming out of high school who just finished maybe their first year of electrical, and they actually have something called pre-app, okay? So they take this pre-apprenticeship, and it's supposed to teach them, really the basics so that when they're out there in the field that they have a general idea of what's going on. And honestly, I have just found over the years that pre-apprenticeship really teaches them nothing. And I guess it's probably even similar for music production school that, these people that go to music production school, really they come out into the real world, and it's just kind of now they go to make a beat, and it's just well, yeah, you learned the theory, but you need to actually apply that theory, right? So, now I have a lot of time. Okay. So I've actually, I'm within the membership. I'm going to be updating my actual website and how it looks. I really want to get that membership super simple for you guys. There's now 23 courses on there. Again, for those of you who don't know, there is a monthly as well as a lifetime membership option. So your feedback is truly appreciated. I will listen and I will apply it. But I really want to get that going. I also want to look into, marketing at a pretty higher level to really get my courses out there so I could really do this full time and be really financially stable off of it, because, I have a lot of different goals that, my goal is really to teach you and really get you learning best practices, right? Sure, like the money's cool, but really like the money is just there to support me in what I'm doing. I really don't care about fancy stuff. Like for myself, I drove the same car that I had from high school. So I only had one car from high school and it lasted me about 10 years. And what happened was my gas lines rusted out, and, the car was probably worth like $700 to $1,000. It was actually an Acura Integra. It was a pretty mint condition Acura Integra. It was a 1994. To fix the gas lines, it wasn't even worth the cost. So I actually purchased, a nicer car recently, and it's like cool, but it just sits in my garage most of the time because I usually work on the computer now. When I was an electrician, it's like, yeah, I use that car to drive to work, but then when I come home, it's like, what I'm trying to say is like, money is important, but for me, I really don't care about the luxuries. I really do like to teach, and just having the money to allow me to teach and allow me to have the time to teach, because really, figuring out a course structure or even having, high quality gear to make that course super professional for you guys, that's what's required to be professional, right? So in addition to quitting my job, I actually had like a basement renovation. I think I talked to you about that on the last episode. Within that time, I had a problem with one of the tenants. They just were not working out and they wanted out of the lease early. I actually brought in a new tenant to show, and the person actually scared away the tenant I was going to be showing to the unit. And I was just like, what is going on here? Like, this is so unprofessional. And it's just like, things like that happen in life. And finally, I just released a huge course about how to write a book for Amazon. Okay, so since releasing these 5 books over the years, and now I have the time to do this stuff, I created a course on how to write a book for Amazon. So if you guys are interested, in writing a book for Amazon, it could be for any topic, right? I teach you about that template, setting it up, and really just, what Amazon's guidelines are to get a nice professional result. So again, check the link in the description and come check out the FL Studio Beginner's book. Like, honestly, I was so impressed with myself with this book. Like, it's 160 pages in this book. Like, all my other books have been kind of thin, right? And this one, I just as soon as I took it out of the Amazon packaging, I was like, whoa, I can't believe I actually did this. Like, it turned out great. Okay. So the beginner's book isn't just for beginners. It's for beginners as well as more seasoned producers. I teach you workflow tricks, keyboard shortcuts, and why I like to do things the way I do it inside of FL Studio. Okay. So let's get into a topic. I just kind of thought about this topic off the top of my head right before I was doing this, right before I did the podcast. This podcast here, this episode is super raw. Okay. I don't even have notes at all. There's just been a lot going on in my life, and really I'm putting the podcast to the side just for a little bit so I can start organizing myself. So even I have a website for myself called rileyweller.com, where I release, these business kind of courses. So I've created one called How to Create an Online Course. Also, how to use a newsletter effectively. For example, if you guys are on the newsletter, where once in a while I will send you out an email about a new course or something like that, right? Email marketing is huge as a music producer. Okay, so again, if you're a music producer, you want to be capturing what's called leads, right? So potential customers who are interested in buying beats from you, or, if you sell sounds or whatever, right? So an email list is huge. So again, I have a course on that on rileyweller.com. Also, now I have this how to write a book for Amazon. And that one actually took me a while. I think it was almost 30 videos inside of that course. Okay. But what I want to talk to you about is pretty much like money. Okay. So as a music producer, for most people, it's a hobby, right? And in order to get yourself out of hobby mode into professional mode, it's like you have to somehow provide this income for yourself. Now, it doesn't mean that you even have to make your money through music production, right? You could be making it through, even for myself, selling a business course about how to create a course or how to create whatever, right? If you're really good at Excel, Microsoft Excel sheets, or if you're good at like sewing, or if you're good at, because man, I even have a buddy and he sews, and it's so cool. Like he sews himself like clothes. So sometimes we go skateboarding or something, he has like a shirt that he sewed, and it's just like nobody would even know that he sewed that except like me. And it's just it's cool. So just don't forget to be yourself. Okay, that's one thing that I want to always stress to you guys, right? So about money, the reason why I want to talk about that is really you guys want to be having a goal for your passive income number, okay? So what I mean by that is this number is going to grow as like inflation continues, right? But right now, honestly, probably like that $5,000, $6,000 mark is a really healthy number. And, if you want to make more than that, well, that's cool. But really, for myself, I don't think I need more than that, okay? Because again, I don't like the luxuries. I really don't care. Like, I just want to have somewhere, like, when I'm living, that is quiet, that's comfortable, that I'm not like stressed out about money. But I also I don't need like the nice cars, or I don't need like the nice, like, let's just talk about audio equipment. Like, obviously, yeah, I'm going to buy nice audio equipment. I don't need like the expensive, like $10,000 preamp equipment. But, maybe buying a $2,000 preamp, maybe eventually, I would upgrade to that level because, audio is such a huge part of my life. I'm talking into a microphone very, very often with courses, now this podcast, right? So you kind of got to think about what's important in your life and, how you're going to achieve these goals. So a big thing with your finances is to discover your unnecessary purchases, right? And especially like monthly purchases, which are unnecessary, because those keep adding up, right? So, again, by no means am I some financial expert, but you just want to be thinking about this number, that number that you want to reach to, and how are you going to achieve it? Because if you want to do music production full time, you're going to need the money to allow that lifestyle, right? The last thing I want to talk about is, just like the advertising and the marketing. So, I'm actually getting my courses ready to market on a larger scale. I'm looking into like affiliate programs. So if you guys are interested in marketing the products, you guys can always get in contact with me. And if you guys know a lot, like if you're actually in the industry of like SEO or digital marketing, funnels, lead, landing pages, all that stuff, feel free to reach out to me. I am looking for someone to hire. It's not something that I specialize in. And honestly, I really find it boring. Like, I understand about SEO, search engine optimization. In other words, for those that don't know, how to get ranked into Google #1 for organic content. And what that means is, if you have a website and you're blogging, you write a blog post, how can you rank #1, right? And it's all to do with the certain keywords that you use. For example, with music production, if we were talking about compression, right, we can be talking about how to use a compressor, compression basics, compression tutorial, or like the attack knob, the release knob, right? You can be using these different keywords to help yourself rank higher, right? Or you can just do paid advertising, which you're paying per click or whatever for the actual targeted keyword, right? And then once they come to the actual landing page, right, you're trying to pitch to the potential customer what you're trying to sell them, right? In my case, it would be FL Studio courses, right? So again, I'm really looking to really ramp up my online business here now that I have the time. Okay, so what you guys as members will be seeing here soon is just a new updated layout to the membership. Okay, that's my next goal here. I actually have like a whole list of different things to tackle. I'm going to be starting to release a couple videos from the courses onto YouTube, and again, just kind of promoting different a coupon that these people could be using to join the membership. And really, guys, just take advantage of the private forum. Like, it's there. If you guys ask a question, I'm totally all ears. I'll be there to answer. Recently, I've done a couple different lessons with you guys, and I've even thought of more ideas for courses, things that I see where newer people are kind of struggling with certain things. Okay, guys, so I hope you guys are all doing good with all this COVID-19 stuff. Kind of a funny story for you guys is when I was actually still working at the job as an electrician there, so I actually worked for a super cool contractor, okay? So, typically what happens is in these condos, there's like the actual developer or like the actual contractor, okay? And then underneath the contractor is like all like the sub trades. So for example, electricians, plumbers, okay? And it's the contractor's job
to make sure that all the sub-trades, electricians, plumbers, are getting the job done, okay? But they treated us so well. Like, they would always give us like free food on Fridays, and like, I'm talking like make pizza to like chicken to like sometimes burgers and stuff like that. But when all this COVID-19 stuff was really blowing up, it was like we were all sharing, you know, the food. For example, like let's say Kentucky Fried Chicken or whatever. It's like, you know, they would order all these buckets of chicken, and people were just putting all their hands like in all this food and putting on their plate. And it's just like this whole COVID-19 stuff's going on. It's just like, you know, the thing was, it was just like, okay, if it's serious, well then treat it seriously, and if it's not serious, well then, like, you know, why are we even caring about it? It was just funny, right? We're all just kind of sharing food, and it's just like all this is going on, and it's starting to get worse, right? Like, you know, they're talking about staying home, like almost mandatory and stuff here now. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I will talk to you in the next episode.
Thanks for checking out the episode. If you had any questions, visit itsgratuitous.com/podcast, select an episode, and submit your question at the bottom of the page to the contact form. If you'd like to take my FL Studio courses, see my current studio and podcasting gear, read my books, or are interested in lessons, visit the link itsgratuitous.com/learning. That page will redirect you to more info and resources. I hope the best with your productions. I'm Gratuitous, and I'll see you in the next episode.